Hi Sagittarius, here's your horoscope for September 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. Okay, we are in eclipse season once again. This happens every 6 months or so. And these eclipses this month will activate your 10th house of status and career and the 4th house of home, feeling, and foundation. So these are going to be the areas that get triggered for many of you. So if you're a Sagittarius rising or a sun sign Sagittarius, this is a very, very general basic overview using Western tropical astrology, using the whole house system. It has to be basic because everyone's birthday and birth charts are different. So this gives you an overview of what the planets are suggesting is going on. All right, so take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, let's dive in to see what the alignments are doing this month. So we start off the month with the sun going through Virgo, which is normal this time of the year. It highlights the 10th house of career and status. So for many of you, your focus now is on organizing and getting things done. Maybe you're focusing on your job or your business, and so you're taking the reins and you're moving forward in this direction, which is normal. Now, Mercury, fortunately, this month is moving direct, and Venus is also in this position in your chart. Both Mercury and Venus are in the 9th house. And so this means the future, this means learning, this means education, this means the legal system, this means sort of your philosophy, the bigger meaning in life. So with Venus here, this is all about having more fun and being more playful, which is great, and I think you should take advantage of that. Mercury here also is about creative ideas and communication. So it probably started at the end of August, but now continues into September. But both of these planets will be switching signs this month and going into the 10th house in Virgo. So that's going to be a dynamic shift there. Your ruler, Jupiter, is still moving direct, going through this 8th house of deep psychological transformation. And it happens to be in the sign of Cancer, which is the house of the home, feeling, and foundation. And so this trend will continue this month. But as we start off the month, Saturn is going to retrograde back into Pisces for the last time in a long time. And so Saturn represents discipline, represents structure, represents organization. It was in the 5th house for a while. Now it backtracked, and it will stay retrograde until, I believe, November. And then it'll go direct again. And then next year, the early part of the year, I believe in January, Saturn will return to Aries right here. But in the meantime, Saturn going through this 4th house is going to have you questioning your home, your foundation, your feelings, anything to do with moving, remodeling, restructuring, any family dynamics, they may be resurfacing. This is a very karmic alignment. Saturn is very karmic. And so when you have it in the 4th house, you become very nostalgic. You're going down memory lane. You're visiting the past. All of this stuff resurfaces. And so you might be having a lot of childhood memories and what took place. You know, these are all the general themes with Saturn going through this 4th house. Now, it's going to be a long process, obviously, until next year. And so there'll be a subtle energy that'll pull you back into these, into these places and spaces in your mind, and even physically, moving back to a place you used to be. Now, in the second, Mercury enters Virgo right there. And now this changes the dynamics completely. Mercury in Leo is much more playful and creative and childlike, but Mercury in Virgo is much more serious and, very organized, meticulous, and can be very pessimistic at times, looking at the smaller details, which a Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising does not do very well with. Sagittarius is the big picture view, and Virgo is the small detail. And so with Mercury going through Virgo now for the next 3 weeks, and we already have the sun there, you're going to be analyzing every little bit of your life. Am I in the right position? Do I need a raise? Do I need to sell my business? You'll be thinking about everything. And it's just what happens when Mercury is in Virgo, because it's subconsciously seeking perfection. Okay? So keep that in mind as Mercury makes its way through there. We have also Uranus going retrograde on the 6th, right there. There it is in stationary position before it goes retrograde. Now, this is in your 7th house of other people. And so, again, revisiting the past is definitely a theme here between this planet and Saturn. Now, this will make the 4th planet to go retrograde. So we got Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto. These are all the outer planets. and they act as subtle nudges throughout the next couple of months, particularly the next 4.5 months going into 2026. And so these are all going to bring back things from the past, situations from the past, anything to do with friendships, relationships. Then it goes into the 6th house, which is about health and jobs, and people from the past that used to be associated with in some way may resurface during this time. Generally, it's not a big deal, but it's very subtle, and you'll see that as it unfolds. Now, the big news, the first part of the big news this month is the lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, this is very significant because, as I said at the beginning, eclipses are opportunities to change. They're big events throughout the year, and they happen twice a year. So here we have the lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces, right there. It'll be closely aligned to the north node. And here is the sun at 15 degrees. So there's an opposition, which is a full moon. And this lunar eclipse is suggesting something about your home environment, your feelings, your foundation. You may be considering selling land or your house or moving or buying something new. This is the general theme with a full moon lunar eclipse. Now, since we're talking about Pisces, it's about the endings, the past. Full moon lunar eclipses can bring endings or realizations of some kind. So maybe you're having some sort of realization with a family member, or something to do with the past. Remember, the past is being highlighted because of karmic Saturn there. But it's also, because of the North Node, it's suggesting you need to go in a new direction. So there's a door closing here on this 4th house, which means your home, your foundation, your fears, the childhood. And so it's really suggesting you need to move on from all of that. That's what it's doing here with this full moon lunar eclipse. It could have something to do with health matters. It could have something to do with family health, family dynamics. It could have something to do with a career. Maybe you're thinking about retiring. And so that energy is lingering here with this 4th house. Now, fortunately for these eclipses, they can take up to 6 months, almost up to a year, to manifest themselves, but usually within the first 3 to 6 months you begin to see the changes that are occurring. So let's see how that plays itself out. Mercury enters Libra on the 18th, right there. Now you become a little bit more friendlier and more social and wanting to get out more. Mercury in Libra is definitely more relationship oriented, and it definitely wants to have other people around in order to exchange ideas and have a little more fun with. So over the next 3 weeks, this should help out a lot. Now, Venus enters Virgo. Now, this one is not the greatest alignment because Venus is the ruler of Libra and Taurus, and Venus likes socializing and likes to be around other people. But in Virgo, it's very sort of analytical about every little detail. And so it finds itself being a little more pessimistic, a little bit more closed off when it comes to relationships. So even though Mercury wants to socialize, Venus in Virgo is analyzing, should I do this? Should I not do this? Do I really care about this person? Do I really not? Now, it's happening in the 10th house of career. So maybe you're having some issues with people at work. And maybe you need to get rid of them, or maybe you need to hire new people, or there's new people that, come into your life through work. Okay, so that is a possibility here. Since we're talking about Virgo and we're looking at all this Virgo energy, especially when the solar eclipse hits on the 21st, tremendous amount of Virgo energy, but this solar eclipse amplifies the Virgo energy even more. And so it'll be at 29 degrees versus Saturn there at the opposite end. But this is a doorway to open up opportunity in this area for you, for several areas. One, work-related or business. Virgo is about your daily routine. It is about health and caring for others. And so you might find yourself in a new position involving that, like an HR position, let's just say, or having a lot more people around you. Maybe you're changing jobs, or maybe you're buying a business and you find yourself having to manage more people. That kind of energy is what I'm talking about here. Okay. But it is an opportunity to be seen in a bigger way. Maybe there's a promotion involved. But again, we're talking about an eclipse which could take up to 6 months to manifest itself. So I see this as a positive energy coming in to change something about your current situation involving your home, involving your career, involving health matters. This is all on the table here, okay? Mars enters Scorpio on the 22nd. Now, this is more intense. Mars works much stronger in Scorpio, but it's entering your 12th house for the next 5.5 weeks or so. And so this is you wanting to just escape a little bit and maybe be left alone. Even though there's still socializing going on, there'll be times where you just want to be left alone. And because Mars in Scorpio can be very much hiding out and not wanting to socialize much. But that you're not going to be able to stop that because the Sun will be in Libra, Mercury's in Libra, and you have a lot of responsibilities. But the Sun going through the 11th house is definitely better for socializing and interaction. So you'll have moments of extreme, socializing and then hiding out. That's how I see it. Anyway, there's the general overview. If you want to know more and I go deeper into the aspects and what's going on, consider joining my inner circle. There I do an extended version of this. I do the weekly astrology also, give you an overview. I make predictions throughout the week. And also we do a Zoom call every Sunday, and members get to send me their charts and I could answer a few questions for them. We talk about everything from politics to conspiracies to UFOs, you name it. And of course I interact with the members every Sunday. So consider joining. There's a free 7-day trial, so there's a link down below, so there's no obligation. Anyway, hope to see you in the community. Have a great month, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.